welcome yet again for an evening with Remy Centauri. And I'm your host for this evening, Remy Centauri, speaking to you from once again atop my makeshift hilltop home studio. As I'm looking out the window, the waves are coming in kind of nice. Got some people walking down there, it looks like, and waves coming into the shore. Really nice this early evening, and of course, as always, in my part of the world, it just seems like life is just at a standstill. And my two accompanying friends, my coffee filled with 15-year age Macallan single malt scotch, and as always, his other friend, the acid cigar on the other. I hope you all are doing well this evening. And driving in today, I was listening to some Eddie Money. That takes me back to my high school days. That song, I want to go back and do it all over, but I can't go back. I know. Yeah, I know that too. Boy, I tell you, to be able to go back and do, what would you change if you could? I don't know. I mean, so many things I did wrong. Well, not terribly wrong, but just some things I guess I could have done differently. Some things I could have avoided. But we can't go back in time. Well, first of all, Albert Einstein said that, we cannot travel into the past. Man, if we could. But we can go into the future, very far into the future. And of course that entails going, the closer, if there's a black hole somewhere in space, and the further you go in, the closest you go into a black hole without actually falling in and then coming back out, you don't change, but the place that you came from, which in this place would be Earth, would be, it'd be in the future, or everyone you knew would be gone. Places that you've been or where you lived would probably be gone. Things would change. You would not recognize it, and you'd be the oldest person there, but you wouldn't look that old. But nevertheless, that's the way it explained it on the PBS special that I saw. Yeah, we can go into the future, but not into the past. And if I could, I'd probably be married by now. Probably have a mess of kids knowing me, But yeah, so some of that music that I listen to, I'm an '80s person, and grew up in the '80s, some '70s, '80s, part '90s, a couple of the first years of the '90s. So yeah, I reminisce a lot, when it comes to music, and I think about where I was, at that time when I was listening to that song, what it reminds me of, whose class I was in, who was in that class with me, my school friends, and but Eddie Money, driving in today, took me back. But of course, we can't go back. I know. And one thing, earlier today, coming to work, you all, when you're coming in and going down the expressway, you always have that person. I don't know if they do this purposely, or I don't know if they get paid for doing this. You're on the left passing lane, right? To pass traffic, right? But you also have that person that for some reason, either they don't know the left side's a passing lane, or they're like, they don't know because they're idiots, or they come from some other planet that they don't realize that the left lane is for passing. And I'm like, is this for real? And they don't care. They don't care. It's like, seriously, I think someone has got to be paying these people, to to do this, to create havoc on the road, and then you have people flicking them off and everything, and then this where the road rage begins. And just learn to not stay on the left lane for people to pass. And of course, you then you move to the right to try to, because everyone on the right is passing you up, because this idiot over here on the left is going 60 while everyone else is doing 70 or 75. And then so you pass, you move from the left to the right to pass this idiot who's on the left, and then you're speeding to make up time, right? And then lo and behold, there's a cop. If at all, he needs to stop, pull over the person who's driving slow on the left. But no, of course not. They pull over the guy who's trying to make up time. Yeah, but that happened to me one time long ago. But this time, I need, this incident, well, when I last got pulled over for that was a few years ago for that particular reason. But yeah, this morning going into work, that issue happened. You had an idiot, driving too slow on the left, and excuse me, you really can't do anything other than wait your turn to try to see there's enough clearance on the right. But yeah, that was me going to work, spilling my coffee on the way. Gee, don't you just hate that? I tell you. I want to say, give a shout out to some friends of mine at the Five and Diner at 5220 North 16th Street in Phoenix, Arizona. And Five and Diner, the Blue Moon Burger with a mixture of blue cheese, crumbles, or the Big Ten Burger with a brownie Sunday chaser. How about that? With a fresh baked brownie and ice cream and chocolate syrup, and of course, not to mention, a nice cup of coffee to follow that. So I've had the Blue Moon Burger. It has a mixture of the blue cheese crumbles. That's great, and it's really good. And I've had that I think like 3 or 4 times. And I've had the big Texan burger, and the brownie, and with the sundae on the side. After I finish the burger, great place. The people are wonderful, and that's in Phoenix, Arizona. It's been a while since I've been to Phoenix, and nice dry heat. So if you all make it out there, please go by and tell them that Remy sent you out there. Okay, and stuff that going on in the world. There's all this discussion about all these states. I was talking to a friend of mine when it comes to the use of cannabis. It seems like almost half the states, it's getting there anyway, where you're starting to do the medical marijuana, medical cannabis, right? And it's almost about half the states are, joining in on this. Eventually, it'll encompass the entire U.S. Usually it's the red states, conservative states that are usually the last ones who will follow suit after. But I think, it's going to, a lot more people, particularly the elderly, senior citizens, there's a rise in cannabis use when it comes to them. Mainly, I guess, because of pain. Particularly, you have a couple of strains. You have the indica and the sativa, and it's the indica, which is the one more for pain management, and basically, it releases these dopamines into the receptors, and we have pain, and it numbs, or it gives you a not so painful sensation, but more pleasurable. And the way I see it is this, once you hit, if you're retired, 62, and if you want to go out and purchase this, hey, not only do I think you don't need a prescription from a physician, I think the state should give you some type of assistance when purchasing this kind of stuff. Some kind of prescription program, where you can, they'll help you out. The first two baggies are on the state. That's basically all you need. But I do believe that compared to all these other things like was it ice or meth, right? Have you seen that? As people that use this stuff after a couple of months, when it comes to cannabis, you're smoking cannabis, you basically look the same, But when you do the ice and the meth and all that, if they hit it hard, physically you really don't, recover because, I've seen so many people that do it, and they wind up losing some teeth, like either the top teeth or the bottom of their teeth. They lose, and how do you come back from that? You go to the dentist and say, I need implants because I was dumb enough to be smoking meth and crack, right? Well, I think it's meth one that does it, the one that does that. Well, how are you gonna pay for these dental implants when you lose your teeth for doing meth? You were spending on the drugs, so pues the way you say in Spanish, te vas a sacar chimuelo toda la vida. You're gonna be without any teeth. So I think that states should have some kind of assistance for people once they retire, particularly people that are do physical labor, right? And they pay their dues, they pay their taxes, and if they want to go ahead and self-medicate with cannabis, I think they should be able to, and like I said, states should pay for half of that, because it is expensive. The state comes in and taxes you for that. Well, maybe just get it tax free. That'd be great, right? No taxes. I think that'd be super. And some of the people that I know that have hit that pretty well. Eddie and Sammy, Eddie Van Halen and Sammy Hagar. Me and a buddy of mine we're talking about music again, subject I love to talk about, and we're like, do you think Eddie and Sammy will ever get back together? Oh boy, Eddie's kind of tricky because, I think some of the time, he was heavy on doing heavy drugs and drinking too much Heineken and a mixture with drugs. It just kind of goes to your head. So he was in a chemical dependency, and it wasn't for pot. It was for the other stuff that you inhale, and of course, he used to drink a lot. He probably, I don't know if he still does, and of course his relationship with his lead singer, David Lee Roth, Diamond Dave, hasn't really been going too well. But when it comes to Sammy, it seems like a lot of people can work with Sammy. Sammy's a great guy. He gets along with everyone. So I think that you cannot omit the work that Sammy and Eddie did, or Eddie can't do that, because he did. They did produce a lot of great music, both he and Sam, and I think they should eventually. They will. I believe they'll get together again. I don't know if they'll get on stage with David. David's another knucklehead there that he's a prima donna, and he's older, and he doesn't have the pipes anymore, and it's sad, and so I think he should, maybe kind of take it easy on trying to hit those high notes, which he cannot do anymore. But it's it'd be nice to see all three of them, but I don't think I don't foresee all three of them being on stage because when Sammy was on tour with Eddie, Sammy would sing the older Van Halen stuff, right? But when David went on tour with Eddie, he didn't sing any of Sammy's stuff on tour, right? So I think I guess David has his pride or whatever. It's just I'm not gonna sing his stuff. I'll sing the old stuff and the new stuff that we come up with, but not during the Sammy Hagar years, which is really unfortunate because Sammy did it. He didn't care. It was all about the music for him. And so for some people, like Eddie and particularly Dave, it's about egos. You got to cast those aside. And I think Eddie eventually, hopefully, will wise up and say, hey, you know what? Stuff was good as said. Let's get on stage and put some, and play some music. And I think it'll happen eventually. In the news, it's all about Kim Jong-un and the president, Donald Trump. A couple of 48 hours prior to 48 hours prior to Donald Trump meeting with Kim Jong-un, you had, what's his name? That sad little man. Oh, yeah, Robert De Niro. He came out on the Tonys. Now, no one really cares about the Tony Awards. Theater is basically dead. Theater, acting in a theater. No, I'm sorry. It's not what it used to be. And so he comes on TV, and he goes out there and he says, an expletive word about Donald Trump. And so he kind of makes some news. 48 hours later, Donald Trump meets up with Kim Jong-un. Now, that took precedence over, a lot of everything else that was going on that day. And this is stuff that, that's going to be in the history books. That your kids, when they, go to school and they're reading world history, the meeting between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un will be in those history books. It will say nothing about the sad little man of Robert De Niro, but it will say something about Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump, a sitting president, finally meeting with a North Korean dictator, Kim Jong-un. So sorry, sad little man De Niro. It's just not going to happen. No one really cares about you or your movies anymore, And I mean, now you just can't watch anything without it getting political, and I think people are just kind of tired of that. And if you're not tired of that, then there's something wrong with you. There's a time and place for politics. You just don't want to flip on the TV and something like that goes on. I mean, that's why, I reminisce of the time when I grew up when there wasn't any of that crazy stuff going on. But one of the questions that I'm wondering is like, Kim Jong-un, when will he visit the United States? And will he go to Disney World? That's what I want to know. Yeah, that's what I want to know, if he will do that. Got a letter here from Sabrina from Taos, Sabrina from Taos, New Mexico, and she writes, "I have a question for you, Remy, and I'm really interested in your response. What old person things do you do? What old person things do I do?" Wow. Well, first of all, when I get up in the morning, I'm in pain. Yep, yes, people, it's gotten to the point where I'm old. Well, if you're under the age of 32, I think you should be okay. You wake up, you're still somewhat spry. You can get around pretty well. But once you hit the 33, 34 years of age, yeah, definitely when by the time you're 35, it'll happen. You wake up, you're like, wow, why does this hurt? your arm or your knees, or you get up. And when I get up in the morning, it's like, my feet hurt. I don't know why. And then there's some people that take, as soon as they get up, they'll take a couple of aspirin, just so to alleviate the pain. And eventually, as the day progresses, the body warms up, and then they're okay. It's just that when you're asleep, when you're older and you're asleep, the body gets, I guess, it cools down. Your bones, you're not moving them. Your muscles, you're not moving them. And then stiffness is another good friend. Stiffness and pain. And we're not talking about that kind of stiffness for guys. We're talking about the painful stiffness. And so, that's one thing I've experienced when it comes to what old things do you do. And I don't do it on purpose. It's just it's natural. It's age and consistency, I guess you can call it. And so I don't do it voluntarily, but it's coming, and it's probably going to get worse. I know it is. But another thing that I do voluntarily is I'm starting to wear hats. I don't know why. I'm not losing my hair, but I've started using more headgear, baseball caps or those bucket hats, like Gilligan from Gilligan's Island, that kind of thing, with 3.5-inch brim for the sun. See, now I'm all of a sudden I'm protecting my face, because I've seen some people that I used to go to school with. Boy, they look bad. I mean, I tell you, it's like, damn, dude, what the hell happened to you? But so yeah, I'm starting to wear more headgear, caps, and like I said, those bucket hats, those fisherman hats. Yeah, for the sun. So that's one thing, or those two things that I'm doing right now. One voluntarily, one involuntarily. And Autumn from Annapolis writes to me, Remy, I have a question. Of all the social stigmas out there, which one do we as society need to get over? I think what we need to get over, well, there's two, and I think one is the use of cannabis, which it seems to, it seems to be kind of going away. It's no different than beer, which has to be fermented, and it has to go through all these changes. They add all barley and hops and all this other stuff. Where cannabis, you just plant it, and it comes up, dry it, you crush it, and that's it. That process isn't too complex. And the other thing would be, I guess, when it comes to the LGBT community, I think that we need to people are people at the end of the day. And if someone's gay, lesbian, whatever, and that's what it should be, just whatever. Hey, they're people, just like anybody else. And they work in hospitals, bakeries, restaurants. They're next door neighbors. They're that person, who's in the at the store at the end of the line. It's like, oh man, you're a dime short. I'll give you a dime. It's that person right there. It's the person serving you food. It's that person who stopped when you got a flat tire. They're people just like you and I. And at the end of the day, they just want to go home to the person that they want to be with. And so that's one stigma. I have, I know people, acquaintances that are gay and lesbian, and after a while, you talk to them, and after a while, you seem to forget that they're gay or lesbian. It's just like, hey, this is Fred, and this is Sarah, and that's it. But I think those are two of the things that we need to get away from, because it's, you know, it just, creates unneeded tension, that kind of thing. But that's just my point of view. Other people want to think whatever they're going to think, and I think we need to get over that. That's just my point of view, anyway. Liz from Carpinteria, California. Remy, you seem like you are into music, especially rock. Which is the best concert that you have ever been to? Okay, well, Liz for Carpinteria, California. Hold on, let me see me out. Oh boy, my cigar here, my acid cigar, man, this one, it smells almost like wearing a cologne. That's really good, tasty too. Okay, Liz from Carpinteria. The best concert I've ever been to, let me think here. Jeez. I would say it was on the Roll the Bones tour when I went to go see Rush. I believe it was in 1992, Roll the Bones tour. And that's when the guys were still young, Getty, Alex, and Neil Peart. They this was before his daughter Neil Peart's daughter had a tragic accident where she died. That was a great concert. It really was one of probably the best concert I'd ever been to. And before that, I had seen Motley Crue, I had seen ZZ Top, and Iron Maiden. Before I saw them at that time, before seeing Rush, I'd already seen those other bands, but it was, that one concert with Rush was the one that really, made me, really appreciate good musicianship, good skill, musicians. And it was really good. That was the best concert. Like I said, I had seen the other guys, ZZ Top, Motley Crue, Iron Maiden. And Iron Maiden, I like Iron Maiden as well. I really do. But now that concert with Rush, and since then I think I've seen them 13 times, and still, you hate to see the end of the show, and you couldn't wait to see them again 2 years after that, or 3 years after that. But now they've retired, while Neil has, and who knows, maybe we'll see him down the road sometime. But yeah, that's my favorite concert, the Roll the Bones tour with Alex, Getty, and Neil. That was a great show. And if you ever, and if they were playing again, I highly recommend that you go and see them wherever they're at. I also want to say a hello to some of my friends out in Oregon. Heaven on Earth Restaurant at 703 Queens Creek Road in Azalea, Oregon. And you can enjoy some of their home-cooked meals, their famous cinnamon rolls, or one of the many batches of cookies, cakes, crisps, cobblers, and pies. And I have tried their the cinnamon rolls. Huge ass cinnamon roll, chingon, right? Huge ass cinnamon roll with a slab of butter. This was like at 2 or 3 in the morning, and it was the best. And that's a really nice place out there in Oregon, Azalea, Oregon, just outside of Medford. And I can't say enough about it. And they treat you well. Very nice people out there. And I was on my way when I was going to Washington to see some family. So Heaven on Earth Restaurant at 703 Queens Creek Road in Xenia, Oregon. And as always, let them know that Remy mentioned them online, and who knows, maybe get a free cup of coffee off of that. How about that? Yeah, like that already. Yeah. So, one more question before I leave, and it comes from Athena from St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Now, as humans, we are more, as she writes here, as humans, we are more and more fascinated by distant galaxies. The more we learn about space and planets. Remy, do you think life exists on other planets? If so, do you think we will ever meet them? And Athena from St. Simon's Island in Georgia writes that. Okay, well, I'm gonna say probably not in our lifetime. Okay, it'd be great. What's to say that those people from other planets aren't here already, and they hide behind they're just like us, and they're witnessing our world through the eyes of a corpse of a body that they've taken over, and they're in our schools, they're in our churches, just looking at what's going on in this planet that we know as Earth, and they're probably saying, "Man, what a bunch of fucked up individuals live here." Yeah, no, but I think eventually we will, but it's going to be, hundreds upon hundreds of years that we'll actually come in contact with them. That's just my point of view. I know that recently they found some kind of signs of there could be life on Mars because of some kind of organic material that they found on Mars. And from there, with better rocket technology, we can take it further, and see, what lies, beyond, distances that we can, we can only, dream of ever seeing. One time we will. Eventually, I don't know when this planet's going to come to an end, because eventually it will, because our sun, our star, is not going to last forever. Oh, I mean, it'll give out a long, millions upon millions of years from now. It'll eventually give out, and of course we won't be here to see that. But that's why I guess we're trying to colonize Mars and try to move everyone over there. Yeah, I need to get a real estate agent to get a place out there in Mars, right? Yeah, but I think we will. We won't see it in our lifetime, but the journey, or that we're witnessing right now, of the discovery of things going on, in other planets as our universe keeps expanding. You have other galaxies that are forming. Ours is already formed, and you have others that are just forming, and from dust to pebbles to rocks smashing into one another, creating planets, and then of course the gaseous planets on the further out from the star, and so it just keeps spreading out more and more and more, eventually to hit this wall. And that's another thing. You're gonna hit the wall, and you're gonna see a poster of Pink Floyd on it. You have, this is the end. Pink Floyd. I don't know. I think, some people think that just, you're going to hit a wall and this is as far as you can go. But no, it just keeps expanding. We will never know how far this universe expands, or if there's an alternate universe somewhere, that you slip off the edge and you're somewhere else. We'll talk about that later on, in the weeks and months ahead. Well, I just want to say, people, that um, I am somewhat I'm drinking this 15-year-old Macallan, but it's just not, it's just not doing it for me. I think I'm looking for maybe something something a little bit colder, maybe a brew. I don't know. But the bewitching hour is yet upon us again, and my time with you all has come to a close, at least for this evening anyway. And like I said, I believe there's a bottle of some tasty spirit, probably at the old tavern over there. I'm gonna put away my bottle of Macallan, and probably take another one of my cigars with me, and just become entranced with the intoxicating fumes of another acid cigar. And they say that we travel on the road to redemption, a highway out of yesterday that tomorrow will bring. So that leads me to believe that every day that we wake up, we have a chance to redeem ourselves, and whatever we did wrong the day prior, we can we can go ahead and make it right. So yeah, redemption is a highway out of yesterday that tomorrow will bring, not just for me but for everyone out there. So saith Neil Peart. Okay, look up that one if you will. All right. So once again, my name is Remy Centauri, and it was good being able to spend some time here with y'all. And I'm looking outside, and yes, the waters are calm. So there's still some people out there. Looks like they're just I don't know, trying to build a little fire out there. But nevertheless, I leave you in good night, and take care of y'all. All right.